All right, welcome to PrimeTime Rundown Week 16. Me and Dalton are here again to talk primetime games for the NFL for this week. But before we do that, we're coming into the championship week in our fantasy league, the Hardcount Heroes Fantasy League. My team, Dax of the Future, is taking on Judge Judy, Cameron's team, and it should be a very exciting week. A lot of hype built up around it. It's kind of all been tailing to this point, and we're really looking forward to talking about it and kind of getting in depth on the matchup. So make sure you check out this week's episode of the Hardcount Heroes Fantasy Show. That will be up Friday after this post. So with that being said, let's look back at the week 15 games here first, and we'll kind of review those. So Thursday night, Seahawks 49ers, Brock Purdy taking on the Seahawks, and we were both right about that game. Niners won 21-13. So your boy
Let
Brock
Purdy
Purdy
cook.
showed up. Yeah, I don't think he was like necessarily anything spectacular in that game, but he got the job done and he looked
Yeah.
good. So I don't think you can go wrong with that at all,
I mean, 2 for 2 on his starts for wins. I mean,
Mhm.
can't get no better than that.
Yeah, and ideally, I feel like not every quarterback's going to be flashy like Mahomes or Allen or, even guys like Aaron Rodgers at time. But like when you can go out there and you can lead your team to a win, that's really all coaches are looking for, They want a guy who can manage the game. We hear the term game manager. Brock Purdy is a game manager to me. He looks like he can run that offense, and he doesn't struggle with it. So not anything flashy, but he gets the job done. So then Sunday night. Oh, what were you gonna say?
So then, what are the Packers coaches looking for? Because they don't really
Hey,
got anything
Rodgers
in their
got the job
QBs.
done. Rodgers got the job done.
Barely.
He looked decent. Besides that terrible interception he threw. We'll get into that in a bit.
Can't have that.
Sunday night, Giants beat the Commanders 20-12 in what was a very controversial last half of the game, where Terry McLaurin lined up and then he checked with the side judge to see if he was in line or like if he was on the line where he was supposed to be. And they told him to move up a little bit. He checked again. He said he was good. And then they called the flag on him for like illegal formation. And then that was on the same play that the Commanders scored a touchdown, and they could have tied the game with a 2-point conversion. So that was kind of a very controversial part of that game. And
Just straight bullshit.
Taking out one. Yeah, I don't know. It seems like there's a lot of bad calls this week, man. A lot of questionable things, I would say. So Giants win that. They get a 1-game up advantage on the Commanders, and they're still in the hunt for the playoffs. Both of them would make it right now if the season ended, and that's the same for all NFC East teams. But definitely a tight race in that division. Probably the best one in football right now. Then Monday night, the Rams, with Baker Mayfield hot off of beating the Raiders, came into Lambeau and played Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers, who were trying to run the table and make the playoffs. So you were talking mad shit last week, saying that you were hoping that the Rams beat the Packers, so I'd be sad and lose. But it's not how it went. Packers won 24-12. And this really comes down to what I've been saying, is that Baker played one game, and people kind of freaked out, and they're like, "Oh, this guy's good." They were acting like he was prime Montana, and he went out there and he didn't look good, and the offense struggled. I mean, he went. I think he had 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 111 yards passing, and he kind of struggled in the cold, where Rodgers looked better. 229 yards passing, 1 touchdown. Did have 1 interception, which was kind of a bad play. It was to Lazard, and he just kind of overshot him. But the Packers really ran all over the Rams, which is necessarily what they should be doing now. They're a running team at this point. Rodgers is good, but he's not good enough to match the consistency of the run game. So he's not at the point where he was in his career at one time. So that's how that went. Any thoughts on that Monday night game, Dalton?
I mean, each team played as how they usually play. Packers played one half rather than the other.
Yeah.
But the primetime game wasn't as exciting as I was hoping for it to be.
Yeah.
I was also hoping for
Rams
the
kinda
outcome
shit
to
the
be
bed
a
on that one.
little differently.
Yeah, of course, with your predictions from last week, but yeah.
My
All right, so
predictions were
then that
fine.
takes us, well, 2-1. I was also 2-1.
I don't know what you're talking about. Monday night doesn't count. I was just straight 2-0.
Yeah, bullshit. Yeah, bullshit. Then Sunday night don't count if Monday night don't count.
No. See, I need that to be 2-0, so that one counts.
No, I don't think so. All
Yeah.
right, enough of that tomfoolery. Moving into Thursday night for
My
next
name's
week.
Dalton.
Shut up. The Jets and the Jaguars are playing each other on Thursday Night Football. Jaguars just had a big comeback win against the Cowboys. They were down 27-10 at one point, and they came back and won. And then the Jets just lost to the Lions with Zach Wilson starting again, and it didn't really look good. So kind of expect this game to be closer. I don't really know who the Jets are going to have starting, if they're Mike White's going to come back or if it's going to be Zach Wilson again, who I don't really think Zach Wilson is much of a leader.
Wash.
So, yeah, I don't know. He's kind of a draft bust, man. He kind of sucks.
Mike White is definitely the better of the two.
Yeah, Mike White's that fucking guy, man. He's a lot better, I would say. And he's just more of a team leader, too, you know? They had that one interview with Zach Wilson where he was talking to the media, and their team only put up 3 points on offense. And the media asked him, they're like, do you feel any type of responsibility for only putting up 3 points and putting a lot of pressure on the defense? And he was like, no, not at all. Which, if you're going to be a leading quarterback, why deflect blame that is rightfully put on you and try to shift it over to someone else? That's kind of a shitty thing to do.
No, that's
So,
it. Get him out of here. He's cut.
Jaguars are red hot.
Oh,
Trevor Lawrence has looked what he was supposed to be coming into this year and coming into his NFL career. So he's looked a lot better. He also looks like a girl.
Yeah. Fantasy-wise, I wish I didn't drop him for them this past week, but
he's a stud.
We'll talk more about that in our next fantasy show.
Well, your boy Zay Jones been pretty good for the Jaguars lately too. And their receiving core has really stepped up. Christian Kirk hasn't been bad. Zay Jones has been good. Jamal Agnew's all right. And they've really just pieced together a decent team who looks young, and they might be able to really be contenders down the road. So
yeah,
that's the Thursday night game.
Especially if you give their team like time to ferment and like adjust into the NFL. With being so young, I mean, their team will stay as a whole and only build, while most NFL teams are going to fall apart because all the older players will retire.
Exactly, that's true. So then moving into the Sunday night game, Buccaneers at 6-8 play the Cardinals at 4-10. Buccaneers just lost to the Bengals after they were up at halftime like 17-3, and then they ended up losing that game. So not ideal. Playing a good team in the Bengals, and they kind of got really just kind of rocked. And then the Cardinals lost to the Broncos, so I don't really think this is much of an interesting game.
No.
That NFC South is wide open for any team, but everyone in that division just sucks this year, so it's just not even interesting. And the Cardinals are just a shell of what they should have been this year, regarding all the hype they got, and kind of the whole NFC West in total, where this division starting this year was hyped to be one of the best divisions in football. And now look at where the Rams are. Look at how the Cardinals are doing. The Seahawks have been better than a lot of people expected, and the 49ers have been great. But just like the Cardinals and the Rams have kind of been slacking. So definitely interesting, I would say. And then Monday Night Football, it is the Colts and the Chargers playing each other.
Ooh,
Colts just blew a 33-point lead to the Vikings last week. How the hell do you do that?
Isn't that the longest comeback in history, or the biggest comeback in the NFL history? Because it was
the biggest like regular season comeback in history. How the fuck do you lose when you're up 33-0 at half? What was Jeff Saturday doing in the locker room? How do you come out there that big in the half, and then you have a shit game plan for the second half?
Well, yeah.
And that's terrible.
I mean, you can't perform two halves like that. Come on. We talked about this. NFL games are rigged. All right? Everyone knew this was going to happen.
Well, I'm usually a proponent against you with that claim. But this week, I've
Look at
seen
the
some different
numbers.
posts, and then I've seen some different posts, and people are pointing out things. I mean, like, I'm not saying it's true, but there's definitely a possibility. But
Look at the stats. Read the
yeah,
numbers.
okay.
Pronounce the
Okay.
letters. Rigged.
I can't do the pronounce letters.
Yeah, I'm
All
illiterate,
right.
so that's why we record.
Chargers look good. They're 8-6. They look a lot better. So, kind of an interesting pick this week. I don't really like this Monday night game. Chargers kind of seem like the favorites, and Justin Herbert's been better. So,
I don't really like
let's
any of these primetime game matchups, but
nah, me either, man.
I mean it's bound to
Uh,
happen from time to time. I mean, you got to give everyone the spotlight, even if they don't
Yeah,
really
exactly.
deserve it.
Yeah. Let's flex back to the Thursday night game. Jets Jaguars. What do you have for a score, and what's your predicted winner?
I gotta go with my boy Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars. They're on the hot seat, and I'm thinking he's gonna be able to keep some of it, and hopefully pull off a win. I'm gonna go 27-20.
All right. I'm also going to take the Jaguars in this game. I like them after beating the Cowboys that are touted to be one of the best teams in football. I feel like Zach Wilson in the offense will probably struggle a little bit again. So I will take the Jaguars in this one, probably 26-14, I'm thinking. A lot of field goals for the Jaguars. I don't know why, but it just feels like they're going to have a lot of field goals.
Nah, Trevor Lawrence, TDs all day.
Yeah, there you go. Let's hope so for my fantasy team if I start Christian Kirk, but we'll see. So then, Sunday night, like we were talking about, Buccaneers and Cardinals. What do you have for a score, and who do you think wins?
Do I have to choose?
Oh, you do indeed. You do indeed.
What if I do a first in primetime history and predict a tie?
If you want.
I mean,
That's a bold prediction, but
I know it's not gonna be a tie, but I mean, just neither of the teams are performing at their best lately. It's just like I have no hope in either team.
fair enough.
So I'm gonna go with a tie.
Wow.
14-14.
A tie. Honestly, if you predict a tie is right with the chances of that happening, I might as well just forfeit this whole winning record prediction thing. And just be like, no, what, Dalton wins this year.
The king
That's
is
it.
here.
So, bold claim there, a tie. I, for one, am going to go with the Buccaneers and just think that they get kind of a garbage win here against a bad team. And I don't really think they're going to be doing anything super impressive, but I would probably take them. Let's go. I like 31-23 over the Cardinals. So they'll pick up a W.
And you're probably
Kind of hold on to
right.
that NFC South.
You're probably right, but all I know is future you making this graphic is gonna shoot me.
Hey, I respect you for going with the tie decision. That's very bold. I will say, very bold.
I mean, it is possible with this matchup. I mean, out of the
Yeah.
3 matchups we have, for a game to end in a tie, this is one with the highest chances of it.
Definitely. So then Monday night, Colts Chargers. Who do you have for a winner? What's the score? And wrap
Colts.
that up.
Colts are gonna take the
Wow.
Chargers.
Colts. Wow.
They're still connecting. I mean, their offense is slowly but surely becoming one. So I think they're gonna take this not by much, but by enough. I'm gonna go Colts take this 21-18.
Wow. All right. I have no reason to pick the Colts in this. I wouldn't touch them with a 10-foot pole after blowing a 33-point lead.
I'll show you
So
a 10-foot
I'm going to
pole.
take the and plus they just lost Jonathan Taylor for the year. So I'm going to take the Chargers, and I will take the Chargers in a 35-10 blowout. So I feel like the Chargers really going to beat up on them and kind of make their push for the wild card spot. Chiefs will probably win that division, but they're going to make a push for the wild card spot. All right. seems like we've been running for a while here. Let's just quickly touch on player of the week, and then we'll head on out of here. So who do you got for a breakout player this week?
I'm going with my boy Trevor Lawrence again.
Yeah, there
He's
you go.
he's been in the hot seat, and if he can keep connecting to Zay Jones, I mean, all day, baby, all
Yeah,
day.
all day. There you go. Uh, I will take Austin Eckler, a guy who's been kind of under the radar, really good at fantasy this year, and he's been a low key fantasy MVP candidate. Uh, he's a guy just can kind of do everything, run the ball. He's a good pass catcher out of the backfield, very versatile back, and he's been good this year. He's been the main option on the Chargers offense, and I think he gets it done and has a decent game against a Colts defense that somehow gave up a 33-point lead. It just doesn't make any sense, but I'll
Rigged.
ride the momentum. Yeah. All right. So that about wraps up this episode of Primetime Rundown. We'll be back in week 17 to talk the primetime games. Week 18, I noticed there's no primetime slots. So I don't really know what we're going to do there, but we're going to figure it out and we'll have a game plan for next episode. So, and then obviously in the playoffs, we'll talk each playoff matchup and it'll run through the Super Bowl. So that's the game plan going forward. Make sure to check out the Hardcount Heroes Fantasy Show. Check out all the socials on the side of the screen. And with that, we'll see y'all later.
Good night, everybody. Leave predictions down below.